Hello. Good afternoon. Wait a few minutes. So today's May 28th. It's about 12:30. Good afternoon. Welcome back. I'm excited to say that JCA is opening their Phase 1 on June 1st, which is Monday. My name is Amaris, and I am one of the wellness nurses in the Wellness Connection office right there in the front of the building of the Jewish Community Alliance. I've been there about 5 years, and we started it with Cheryl Meyer, and she's the other Wellness Connection nurse. So we're excited to be back and seeing you guys face to face, clearly under different circumstances. It's going to look a little bit different. We will all be wearing masks, so that's one of the prerequisites to coming into the building is wearing a mask. And when you come to see us, you're going to have your temperature taken before you come in the building. And then in our office, we're going to be, again, wearing masks throughout our stay. Hey, Linda. Hey, Jean. And you're going to wash your hands before you come into our office. We'll have some hand sanitizer to wash your hands. So that's important. We're going to do our part to be responsible and keeping the coronavirus under control. Also, we'll have our doors propped open in the Wellness Connection, so that, we're kind of, if there's somebody in the office, then you're just going to wait outside, and we'll outside of our office, and we'll come ahead and get to you as soon as we can. So, we usually run, blood pressures and drop-in weight checks and things. We're going to suspend some of those drop-in visits for now, at least for the first couple of weeks while we get back on our feet and we see what's ahead of us. So I'd say probably until June 15th, we'll probably need to be scheduling appointments to do these things. So you'll have the ability to schedule telephonic sessions for your coaching if you want to continue with that. We'd love to hear how you're doing and make sure that you're staying on track. But for now, we're going to keep doing our coaching telephonically, potentially until, we'll probably have another date in a couple weeks. So we'll be streaming all of our education sessions virtually, just like now, and through this page, the JCA Fitness and Wellness page. And let's see. If you have any questions, our telephone number is 904-365-4087, 365-4087, or extension 333 at the JCA. So today we're going to talk a little bit about how to establish healthy behaviors and how these skills can improve your ability to overcome difficult times. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to think about is when you're setting a goal. Everything starts with a goal. And sometimes our goals are externally motivated, and other times they're internally motivated. And when they're internally motivated, you're going to have a better result. So externally motivated goals are a physician telling you need to do something, right? Or probably more prevalent, especially now that it's beach season, is that the six-pack abs. I want a six-pack abs. So what I'm going to ask you to think about when you're looking at your goals is this something that I really, really want? Because when you tie into what you really want, you'll have a better outcome of getting there. If it's internally motivated, if it's something that comes from within you. So when you think about your goals, try to think, why? Why do I want this? I remember asking Eiffel a long time ago when I first started, and I was just joking around, and I had said, hey, how do I become a bodybuilder? Will you train me? Just curious about the process. It was just a neat idea. I was just kind of questioning it. And he goes, do you really want that? And that didn't make sense to me why he asked that until a little bit later. But because being a bodybuilder, it takes a lot of sacrifice to be able to manage your nutrition, get your workouts in, get your rest, get your hydration, and you're doing that on top of everything else. So when you think about why you want to do something, do you really want to do it? Because you might want it, but the steps to get there are going to be tedious in the process. So we'll talk a little bit next about the stages of change. So when you're goal setting, always think about the why you want it, because that's always going to be very important in how you follow through with what you're setting out to do. And nobody wants false starts. Nobody wants to waste your time. But why do you want it? It's really important. And sometimes writing these things down, coming in and talking to Cheryl or I or any of the JCA trainers, really getting some feedback on what you're setting out to do, why you want to do it, and the steps to get there. So the stages of change. So behavior change. Behavior change isn't hard, but it's complicated. So there's 5 different, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 stages of behavior change. And a very smart man, Prochaska, had gone ahead and set it out, the trans-theoretical model. And where we are at in these changes is important, because that helps us move along. So the stages of change are pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, maintenance, and then relapse. And relapse isn't a bad thing, always. We're going to be on a journey, and we're going to fall off. And being present in those moments and understanding why we're relapsing, and then jumping back into wherever we need to in the stages of change is important. So also note that when we go through these stages of change, you can exit. It's like a circle, right? So you can exit anywhere and you can enter anywhere. That's where it's complicated. So pre-contemplation, let's start there. So people that are in the pre-contemplation stage, they might not be considering change at all. They know that they should be doing something, but they might not be considering doing it. Like losing weight, controlling your diabetes, reversing your pre-diabetes, lowering your hypertension, exercise is probably the biggest one. But for whatever reason, we're just not in the place to be addressing it. There's almost a level of denial and, oh, well, I've had high blood pressure for 20 years. I mean, why would I worry about it now? It's just something that I deal with. So there's really not an understanding of how to address those certain things. There's almost a strong resistance to change in the pre-contemplation stage. So understanding that stage, you're not ready, you don't need to change, then going into contemplation. So pre-contemplation to contemplation. So what I might talk about with somebody that a physician sends to us that needs to change their eating habits so that their diabetes is a little bit more controlled. I might say, well, what would be good to help you in your health, and what would be important to you? Why would you want to do this? So you instill a little bit of hope and move people along to the contemplation stage. When you're in the contemplation stage, you're actively seeking change in the next month. So here's like a time frame with contemplation. You're thinking about it. What can I do? Your barriers outweigh the benefits, so you're not quite ready to make the change, but you're trying to understand what would actually happen to move towards the stages of change. And you're thinking, well, I might try this. I might approach this. But there's still a little bit of ambivalence with moving forward and trying to tackle this on. So now you're aware of the problem, and you're kind of putting your toe in the water to see what you can do about it. So we'll move people into the preparation stage. So you instill a little bit more hope in people as a coach, and this is where your coaching relationship is helpful. And or even with your trainers, with your exercises or whatever goals. Then we'll move into the preparation change. So when you're in the preparation stage, change is imminent. Like, it's about to happen. Some unsuccessful attempts may occur here, and that's okay, because you're trying to figure out what works. And then you know you have to, and you will make a change. And so you're really kind of preparing your plan and how to tackle it. You're combining your intent to change with the behaviors that you need to make to have that change. And then you move into action. So preparation, you move into action. Actions, that stage is you're doing it. You are taking the next step. You are looking to move one step at a time towards those goals. And in this process, you're actually changing your beliefs. Self-efficacy is a term that describes, do I feel like I can do this? And maybe in the pre-contemplation and contemplation, and maybe in the preparation, you're like, I'm not so sure I can do this. In the action, your behaviors start changing your beliefs. And your beliefs about your ability to do this start to expand and get bigger. And that's really fun. And in this action stage is really, I think, truly too, where you need to keep engaging with your coach, with Cheryl I or your trainer, because you've done so much work to get here that you want to invoke as many positive relationships around this change you're trying to make to help support you and lift you up through that. And you're going to have setbacks, because like hurricane season is one of my favorite examples. And so I've worked in the JCA for 5 years now through several hurricanes, and I'm going to laugh because I just used this example earlier today, but Pop-Tarts are like usually not on anybody's grocery list, but something happens during hurricane season where people buy Pop-Tarts, amongst other junk food, but Pop-Tarts. When you find yourself grabbing for the back box of Pop-Tarts at the grocery store, just stop and just be like, I use the example, is this feeding my cells or is this feeding my soul? Because your souls don't need your cells. None of it needs a Pop-Tart. But we respond out of food, out of fear and stress with food. So put the Pop-Tarts down. That's a big one. The Pop-Tarts are not, there's a problem when there's Pop-Tarts in your hand. So anyways, when you're in that action stage, so that you don't move into relapse quickly, have some supportive relationships around you that can, your 911 call, hey, I've got Pop-Tarts in my hand, talk me off the ledge. This is where your friends, your coaching relationships, everything's going to really try to come together for you. And maybe it's the running partner or the walking partner or the study partner, because not all goals are weight loss or related. They could be about academia related or spiritually related, or physically with our trainers and such. So when you've gotten the action stage and you're doing it, and I'll also like to tell you that it takes like 3 to 7 weeks of this. This is not evidence-based. This is just in my experience. Keep working on it. Give it 7 weeks before you start to see some actual changes, but keep going. So the next stage that you move out of action and you move into maintenance. And maintenance is, this is where I see a lot of people drop. It sounds simple, just maintain it, but we're taught how to diet and not diet. We're not really taught how to maintain healthy behaviors. And again, this is where you continue on your touch points with your coaching or your trainer or your support system, because you might not see or talk to them as frequently, but you've got those appointments set. You have someone to hold you accountable, to check in with, to make sure that you're doing what you set out to do. And you use strategies to avoid a relapse in the maintenance stage. So there's a hurricane season coming, or stress, life. We have illnesses and deaths in families. We have car accidents. We have life happens. And so we make plans to make sure that, we don't fall off track on a Tuesday and say, well, I'll get started next Monday. It's okay, I fell off track today. I'm going to sit here, I'm going to own it, I'm going to say, that happened, now here's what I'm going to do to get out of that. And if you know that there are certain triggers with, you'll start to notice, like, what brings back these unhealthy patterns or these behaviors that you're trying to work your way out of. You'll want to make sure you kind of take a mental note. Hey, I know that when I don't eat all day, that I'll end up eating probably 2,000 calories for dinner or more, and then feeling sick. So you start identifying the things that take you off track, and you create strategies to mitigate those issues. So, and no matter what, you keep moving one step at a time. This talks a little bit about resilience. So I think resilience fits into the maintenance of the healthy behaviors, because resilience is really your ability to adapt to things, like in the face of adversity. So some people go into, I'd say a lot of people go into like an all or nothing approach. I'm on or I'm off. And that's like when you're in the maintenance stage and life is happening, you got to just kind of stop, look around, figure out what just happened, why you did it, why you're backsliding, and just own it and just let it go, and then keep taking steps forward to making that change. So one of the key things too is like your physical vulnerability. So when you're tired, when you're stressed, when you've been sick, when things just seem a little out of control, like that could be a trigger for you to backslide a little bit with whatever it is you're working on, and whether it's whatever goal it is. And taking good care of yourself in those domains, just making sure you're eating healthy, regular meals, you're staying hydrated and sleeping well, and you take that physical vulnerability and you shorten it a little bit. So the last stage is relapse, and you can pretty much relapse in any one of these stages, and you kind of fall out of the behavior change circle, but then you can re-enter wherever, wherever you choose to. So relapse, it happens. We go away on a vacation, we gain a few pounds, we lose a little bit of hope. We can end up back in the pre-contemplation stage because maybe this isn't the first time you've relapsed. Maybe you've been trying at this goal for so long that, and then your self-efficacy goes back down. So you're saying, well, I don't know if I can really get there. I've tried so many times and I keep failing. So trying to figure out why you relapsed, what your triggers were, identify the flaws in your previous plan, so that you wouldn't relapse. So when you're in your action stage and in your maintenance stage, you've got a plan to not relapse. Well, think about it again and rework it. And maybe your plan was just fine, and you were tired, just trying to figure out those things. And this is again where a good coaching relationship could help you identify some of this stuff. And then you establish a plan to deal with distractions and disruptions. So maybe you figured out a flaw in your plan, and then you're going to go back and rework that plan. So those are the 6 stages of change by Prochaska. And that's also called the trans-theoretical model. And why we do what we do, we stay where it's comfortable. And change is hard no matter what it is. And we get rewarded by what's comfortable for us. And then with the uncertainty of moving through that, like, I'm trying to think of an example. Like changing your diet, so hypertension, I need to stop eating salt. But I just love those chips and I can't give them up. If I'm working on that goal, trying to give up sodium and I can't give up my chips, I'm rewarded by the comfort of the food. and I'm unsure if I'll like something else. So I don't really go there. I might try it or approach it with a negative attitude saying I'm not going to like it anyways. So, you know, you might not move towards that, that goal. But then identifying, you go through the stages of change. So, you know, I need to lower my blood pressure. I'm going to look at how I'm going to do that. Contemplation, preparation. I'm going to set out a plan to eat the DASH diet. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to follow the recommendations. I'm going to take action on that plan. I'm going to maintain that plan. And if I relapse, I'm going to try to get back up as soon as possible. I think, too, when you relapse, if you have a good coaching relationship, a lot of times people fall off of coaching or their whole plan when they relapse. And that is unfortunate. Sometimes Cheryl and I will chase you down and just, you know, make sure you're okay. But coming back and just saying, hey, yeah, I keep slipping right here and I don't know why. A coaching relationship is going to help you navigate those challenges and not make you feel guilty or shameful, but to really try to problem solve what's going on so that you're successful, because that's really what it's about. But there is an element of shame and guilt and you know, the negative feelings with relapse, like you've done something wrong. But we're all on this journey and we're figuring things out every day, and those are good reasons why to get into your health coaching. And like I said, we're doing telephonic coaching right now, and that's at jcaeasyonlineregistration.net, and you can find that on the JCA website as well. And you'll just go ahead and select an event, and thank you, Cheryl. Select an event, and you know, we'll get you set up. Cheryl and I will call you. We'll set up a time, and then we will, you know, work with you and get to meet you. And if we haven't worked with you in a while, we really do remember pretty much everybody. We might not remember your names, but we'll remember your stories. But we do miss you. And then if you've never worked with any of us, Cheryl is the other nurse, like I said, in the office with me, and she works part-time now, but she would be the other nurse who you talk to. So do you guys have any questions or anything? No questions? So my ending piece would probably be with resiliency, problems are solvable, and knowing that, and that you're not stuck no matter where you are, that you are resourceful, and that you can face the adversity with whatever you're working on, and that I encourage you to not look at things in an all or nothing approach. It's so easy for us to do, but we really live in a grayscale, and black and white, all or nothing. We're somewhere in between, and try to stay in the middle. And what I mean by that is not being all in or not all in, you know, with whatever it is, but that you're gonna move. You're gonna move back and forth. Sometimes it's big swings to black and white, and sometimes it's you know, you're just back and forth, and it's not there's no shame in it. You know, we're just people doing our people things, and we're not machines, so we can't be programmed to do one thing, and we're learning ourselves every day. So Linda says the hardest thing is staying on track and forgiving yourself. So yeah, like it goes into psychology, right? So I'm going to run tomorrow, and then I'm in bed, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not getting out of bed, and then later in the day, why not get up and run, you know, and then you blame, and you start kind of attacking yourself, and like, there's no way that we're harder on ourselves than anybody else. We're not, I mean, I would assume we're harder on ourselves internally than we are on anybody else externally. So it's having that grace within ourselves and knowing that, like, I'm not a machine, and some days not doing anything is doing the best you can, and that's okay. So Everybody has such a great resource at the J. You know, everybody's excited to welcome you all back. So I'll be taking temperatures outside, and Cheryl will be too, and we're trying to keep everybody healthy and safe. And you've got all the trainers that are available. Even if you don't feel safe coming in, they're doing all their online things that I know you see on this page. And then you could do personal training online as well. So, and then your telephonic coaching with us. So if you're not comfortable coming back phase 1, use us. Use your resources. And it's okay to be exactly where you are. And if you don't know where you want to go, you know, just have some discussions with Cheryl and I or any of your trainers. And, you know, stay positive and connected. And I can't wait to see you guys. Any other questions before I log us out? All right. Well, our number is 365-4087. So leave us a message. And the online resource is jcaeasyonlineregistration.net. So I can't wait to see you guys or talk to you soon. And have a great day, guys. Bye.